Welcome to special episode 135. Once again, Nick could not be here with us today. He's here with us in spirit. This was kind of a last-second thing that we threw together here. My sister's in town, and we wanted to capitalize on that. Today, we are joined by my wonderful sister and her baby, the angel, Honey.
Yay.
Yay.
Honey.
Can you see Honey?
Is she in the camera?
She has angel wings.
This is my daughter, my angel. Honey Bledsoe, Holloway.
Heck yeah. What's new with you?
Well, I'm here for a few weeks. I'm music directing a production of Assassins, which is a Sondheim musical. But I'm in Florida now. I think the last time I was on here, I was trying to move to Florida, but I'm living in Florida, and working online, teaching, and I started a online program. So I've just been grinding at that.
Let's go into that for a second. Like, talk about your program.
Yeah, it's super exciting. It's called Your Holistic Voice. And do you want the spiel, or do you want like the overlay, or
all of it?
Okay, so basically, like, I have all of this training in voice, my whole life, and I taught professionally at NYU and through community colleges, and so, like, I branched out into my own private studio, and I have been thinking for a long time I wanted to do an online program where people could join. And really, the issue I was seeing with all of my singers, typically what you would be taught is something to do, like, with technique, right? So typically it's like, oh, a lot of my students have breathing issues or issues with their tongue or whatever. But like, genuinely, I was seeing most of the issues with my students were holistic. They were with the mind and their mental approach or their spirituality or past trauma or things that were prohibiting them from singing to their fullest, to feeling confident, to feeling like they had a voice, so to say, literally and physically. So, like, and I've talked about it on here before, but my experiences in the past had led to, like, physical injuries, like manifestations, traumas and things like that, created real injuries and made it hard for me to sing. And so I did all of these trainings for, voice, and realized, like, you know what? I'm not the only one who's having these issues that's causing singing to be really, really hard, to the point where, like, my favorite thing is almost impossible these days. So after taking some extra courses like vocology and like neurocentric training for voice, and then like trauma movement and a lot of nervous system based approaches for different things and a lot of studies, I came up with this method that's very holistic. It's based on the nervous system. So anyway, the whole spiel is that this course is holistic. It's not about technique. It's for singers to heal as people so that they can improve as singers. And I'm really proud of it. I feel like it's really, really coming along. It's helping people, and I'm just so honored to be a part of that.
Is it live yet?
It is live.
Okay. What's it called? It's
called Your Holistic Voice. And so if anyone wants to, look me up, my Instagram is, bless you, honey, it's at Emily Holloway Voice. Is that it? That's what at Emily Holloway Voice. And so I post about Your Holistic Voice on there. But the whole thing is like, it's a combination of singing explorations, meditations, educational lectures. It's pre-recorded, and there's group sessions each week where we meet live once a week. There's journaling. There's movement. The movement's a very big part of it. So there's a little bit for everybody, and the whole point is to regulate the nervous system and learn how to harness that and educate ourselves on the spiritual implications of what the voice is and how that should be focused on, rather than fitting a mold for society as a singer, because singers are taught to be really tough, really savvy with the industry, but at the same time they're expected to stand on a stage and pour their heart out in front of however many people, but they're treated like dirt and not cared for mentally or spiritually. So this is so people can be grounded in their own like spirituality and feel very, very strong mentally and like as people and have confidence and know care and regulate and yeah.
That's awesome. It is Emily Holloway voice, by the way. I looked it up to make sure. Check her out.
Nice.
And if you're interested in singing, I have to say, Emily has been singing and doing piano as well since you were, I mean, officially you had started training when you were what, like 7?
Yeah, I started singing in church, performing before that, but I started piano lessons in the 2nd grade and then started voice lessons in like 6th grade.
So she's been doing it her whole life, and then if that wasn't enough for you, she went to New York University, prestigious art grad school, got her double master's in...
I did voice performance for concentration in musical theater, and then, anyway, and vocal pedagogy, which is teaching.
So my point is, if you want to sing, she's your girl.
Yeah.
Look her up, show her some support. She's amazingly talented, but she's kind of like me in the way that I like to sort of like spill this specific esoteric and, you know, spiritual knowledge in a conversational sense. Emily's like a surgeon with helping diagnose, like from a clinical perspective, you know, the throat and the voice and how to guide you to sing better. It's really technical stuff.
And I'll tell you, the fun thing about this program is because like in my lessons, I teach very, it's a mixture of technical stuff, but then like what I see, if you think like as a surgeon, I don't technically diagnose, but anyway, we're using the term diagnose. I see all of these students come in, and what I'm noticing, the root of their issue has to do not with technique, but the root of it is holistic. And that's why this program is so important, because people don't realize, oh, I'm having issues with this, but it's like really the underlying issue is much, much deeper. It has to do with like wounds you never healed, or your disconnect with your own sense of self.
Right.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's
really
awesome.
Cool.
I'm proud of you for getting that out there.
And it's funny because it was very synchronistic and we don't have to talk about this more, but it's very synchronistic because I had all of these students that I was helping, and like our sessions kind of turned into like spiritual coaching, and they were like having experiences and like things were popping off, and they were like, you should do something with this. You should do something. And everyone at one time, all within the same week, told me I should do this. And I had for a year not told anyone I wanted to. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I did. And it's happening.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you some of the same questions that I asked Jeremy.
Go.
So it's been, next month will be a year since Dad's book is released.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know, like, how your life has been since. You know, how has it changed your life? How's it impacted you mentally, you know, spiritually? Just like how has it changed your life, basically?
The book.
Yeah, just not even just the book, but just, you know, how's life been since? Like,
well, the book,
what did it bring to you?
Started a series of crazy events. Like the book itself, publishing, it feels like it led to a series of just like craziness. It's been up and down, if I'm honest. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but mostly ups. And it seems like the ups are climbing much more up. Mm-hmm. It's been very positive overall. But there has been some disconnect because it's like, you know, as this stuff gets more validated and more public and people are more on board, there's still that sense of like, I'm still that 10-year-old girl in my head. I'm still that 13-year-old girl in my head that was going through all of this stuff and reading the book, and like, you know, everyone's reading it. Oh, it's an amazing book. I love this. And it's like, that's actually what happened to me. That's actually our life. And so sometimes it can feel very cathartic. It's like a release of a lot of hardship. And sometimes it's just like remembering that and honoring that. But it's overall been very, very, very up. I don't know if that was a good explanation.
How did it feel seeing yourself portrayed in the book?
It's good. It honestly feels like it's been years since it came out. Yeah. This past year has felt like years. It was good. It's really cool really cool. And I don't want to sound like anything's been negative, but it's been really cool for people to connect with that and read that and be like, wow, your story has touched me, and you being brave enough to be public about this has meant something to me, like even in the smallest way. That is so touching to me. And because the book came out, it made me feel a little bolder, and I started my TikTok, which has been really great, and that's called Bledsoe Baby, on TikTok. And I just feel like I've been more and more comfortable in public in the last year, and the book has been so healing, and it's like such a testament to our story, to Dad, to all of it. And it's like, I don't know, it's a powerful connector. I don't know, it feels like it's, and I have people messaging me all the time, and I just don't have the time or capacity to message everyone back like I wish I could, but I see the messages, and I just cry. Like, I cannot believe that 10-year-old self in me is like, she can't believe that there's support, is what I'm trying to say. It's still hard to talk about this stuff because it's like, it's still unfolding right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to wrap my mind around.
The good and the bad.
All of it. And it's amazing. And what I will say, this past year especially, I feel like my faith has been so sharpened. Like, I just have this complete peace and unswerving faith that everything is happening for a purpose, no matter what. And that has been something I've prayed for many years. So I'm just very thankful. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then the same goes for, so the book came out in February.
Yeah.
The month before that, as you know, we recorded with the History Channel. And have you been on since that came out?
I don't know.
I don't think you have.
I don't know.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
I was on the 100th episode.
Yeah, but that was,
That doesn't count.
it's not the same. It wasn't, you.
Okay.
But let's talk about that a little bit. So we recorded the History Channel in January of last year. Obviously, the book came out the following month. And then
that was a big deal for me because I was recorded for the History Channel and did not end up getting put on it. But the guts it took to sign up to go on for the History Channel,
it was over 6 months,
was a major deal for me. And I'm almost glad I wasn't put in it because of different reasons. But it was a big deal for me to accept that.
It was over 6 months of me trying to hype her up, and all of us really. But I just, I know from my perspective, you're coming to me having crying fits. I don't know if I'm ready to do this. Should I do it? Should I do it? I'm like, yes, do it. Yes, do it.
Yeah.
Then you finally agreed to do it.
Well, I did it because the phenomenon told me I had to.
Right. Precisely.
Yeah. Can't deny it. So.
And it was kind of comical, really, because you finally had this.
My mind broke.
Your mind broke. You had this catharsis of, there's no going back. I'm going to do it. And you recorded, and I was in the room when she recorded. I was watching, and it was amazing, and she did an outstanding job. And then, because they had over 100 hours of footage, and then
I literally told the producer, I was like, I just disassociated. I don't know what I just said.
I do that a lot on here.
Yeah, I just totally blacked out.
And she finally had this catharsis and agreed to do it and did it. And then, because they had over 100 hours of footage and 6 or 7 days of filming, they have a 42-minute episode. Emily's segment didn't make the cut. And the director was very...
no, it didn't need to be in there. The episode was perfect.
But just to say, like, it wasn't for anything nefarious. I mean, David Carr, the director, very wonderful man.
He's the executive producer.
He messaged us the night before it came out.
Yeah.
And was like, I just want to say this was made with love. We are so sorry that Emily's segment didn't get in the cut. And then...
It's better it didn't.
Yeah. And I filmed with him a little bit too. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
even Jack
cut
did.
me. Cut me. I don't
Jack
care.
We were all out there. No.
Did you notice there's a line of my audio from when we were filming in the middle of it somewhere? My voice is in it.
I don't remember.
Definitely my voice is in it. Alex was there. I was like, that's me. We watched it together. But anyway, so we did the filming thing. It was an amazing catharsis for our family. We ended up not airing in the episode. But like you said, I do think it was a little bit of a relief,
Yeah.
you know?
I think it was just meant for me to gear up to do it. You know, like the whole point was for me to just like put that foot forward and
You
do
passed
that.
the test. You were brave enough to do it.
And what broke my mind was the thought just came to me, and it's like this stuff, you know, the conversation is so much bigger than it was when it was happening at the beginning, you know, when we were kids. And I think the perspective for me has shifted. Like I've always known this was spiritual, it's God related, all of this stuff. But something like finally clicked. I was like, if I deny this, I'm denying God. And I can't deny God.
Yeah.
When it's showing up like this. Like when you're praying to God, when you're praying and these things appear and you tell it, no, I'm not going to talk about you. You're just like, you're putting people before God. And I was like,
That's a great point.
okay, I got to do it. I got to do it, you know? And so that's what broke me, and I'm glad I did. And then the book came out, and it was really like an energy shift for our family. I'm sure you feel the same. It was literally like once that book came out, the first week or so, it was like everything just rested. You know what I'm saying? Like everything rested. There was peace. And then the History Channel came out, and
I felt like it was life before and after the book.
Before and after the book.
Kind of like when
like
you do psychedelics and people are like, oh, dude, it's like life before and after. That's how the book felt.
It's a huge shift.
It was a massive shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
The energy that I felt inside was different.
Yes.
And then that really carried heavy into 8 months later when the documentary came out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let's talk about that. How did you feel watching that? And then same question as the book. Like how has your life, you know, like what's it brought to you?
When the documentary came out, it was
Beyond Skinwalker Ranch is what we're talking about for those that aren't aware.
I was in Florida when it came out. Jack and I watched it live, and I just sobbed the whole time. I just cried the whole time. It was so special, and I don't really know how to explain it other than another shift. You know, it was like it's just an intense wave of peace and faith and comfort and just feeling like so cared for.
Yeah, it felt to me like
I felt so cared for, and it was so healing for all of us, but for Chris and Dad specifically, because the first documentary with the Discovery Channel was just them, and it was not good for any of us, but them especially because they were on the video, like they were the ones in it,
right.
And so this being just them felt like a beautiful closing of that energetic,
it came full circle
chapter. You know what I mean? Like it's like things are different now.
Yeah.
It was very beautiful.
It came full circle.
Yeah.
I felt that way too.
Yeah.
That's why I was glad we were both cut out of it. Not
Yes.
obviously for any bad reason, but It was like
no.
In 2008, documentary came out with Dad and Junior. It was terrible. And then it was like, yeah, like karmically it came full circle. And it was like they were shown in a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it felt like peace and comfort and strength. To me, it felt like the heavy lifting is done.
Mm-hmm.
We have the book. We have the podcast. We have the documentary. Now there might be a major motion picture in the works. You know, that's kind of been announced. And it just feels like the heavy lifting is done. And I keep telling Dad over and over again, I'm like Dad's right hand man with this. Like he tells me his anxieties. He tells me what he's nervous about. And I'm like, Dad, we're just having fun now.
Yeah.
We're just having fun. The proof is done. We're just having fun.
Yeah,
we're out there telling our story.
We don't have to work so hard to be believed anymore. We don't have to work so hard because it's like at this point we're just riding the bus. He's
texting me, son. I'm pray for me. I'm meeting. I'm doing the History Channel thing. I'm like, Dad, just have fun.
Yeah.
Just show up.
No,
you got it.
It's funny because I wake up some days and just laugh my head off. I'm like, all these years of me trying to be, make something of myself doing this or that, or like trying to fit this pressure or fit this mold and, appear this way or be on stage, and then like this stuff is really just flourishing in such a positive way. I never like, I knew it would be okay one day. I had that deep feeling that things would get better, but I never saw it happening this beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different. much better than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just feels like back in the day before the book,
It's like it's unfolding. I always felt like it would be work. And it has been in some regards, but not in the way I thought it would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It feels like before the book and before the documentary, we had to, like, at least in my experience, you know, I was always into this stuff. I always talked about it openly to whoever would listen, and I always was trying to carry the torch, even at 13, you know?
Yeah.
And I just remember it felt like having to pitch. Like, no, you got to believe me.
It's like every time you explain it, it's like you're defending yourself.
Yes. You're trying to prove.
Intensely defensive.
No, look, it's real. Like, look who studies us. Look at this. Here's videos. Here's pictures. Showing people pictures before they can even, like, ask a question, because I'm trying to establish up front. Like, no, this is credible. Like, I'm telling you.
Already crying before they even express if they think it's weird or not. They might even think it's cool, and you're like already freaking out. Like,
yeah,
oh my
freaking
gosh.
out, like spiraling. Like, I'm telling you, it's real. Now with all this stuff that we have going on, it just feels like, oh, you know, you're into this stuff? Cool. Read the book.
Yeah.
Go watch the documentary.
Right.
We also have 135 episodes of the podcast.
Yeah.
Check that out. I'm just having fun.
Yeah. No, it's so fun. It's fun to make my little TikTok videos and, like, connect with people on there, and see the Discord community through this has been so healing for me. Like, just everyone in the Discord, like
the BSS Discord.
Yeah. Everyone in there is so open-minded, and they're all healing and communicating, and that really inspired my voice program, because that community aspect is so important. And if you're not in it, I'll pitch it for you, not to push anyone. But if no one's in there and you are seeking a community, this is a good community to be.
It's a wonderful way to support the show. It's patreon.com/Bledsoe said so. And we do have a $5 tier that includes a solo show hosted by me, full disclosure, with Ryan Bledsoe. And then the other tier is we have the BSS, we call it the mothership, because it's like a UFO, you know. We have the mothership Discord, and it's a banging community. It's close to 400 people now, which is insane. It's a wild ride. We have fun. We had an event the other night. It was a blast. Yeah. I'm in there playing video games with them now. Like, it's a blast. I'm living my best life up in there. It's healing for me. But enough of that. Yeah, it just feels like we don't have anything to prove anymore. It feels truly like we're just doing it, and we're having fun, and we're just on our journey now.
Yeah, I guess I never realized it would be so easy one day. I guess that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, you started asking me these questions at the beginning, and I still have that slight amount of freeze that happens, and I started rambling and couldn't explain. And throughout this conversation, I've had to, like, sort of allow myself to chill. Like, this conversation is, you know, safe. It's so deep rooted that, like, that your body remembers everything, and you still have these reactions. But I want to say that, and I just blacked out. What was I going to say?
I don't know. I think you I
was going to say I didn't expect it to be this easy. Like, I never would have expected people to be so receptive. I always kind of felt like I would be fighting forever for people to believe, but that it would get better, but I would be fighting. And now people are open arms. I love this. I support this. I see things too. And it's...
Or I want to see.
Or I want to, or I don't think, you know, you're crazy or whatever. And that is still mind-bending to me.
For sure. Emily's had, you have to understand, when this stuff started happening, Emily was the youngest child. She was 10 years old. And not to mention, you know, Emily was the only girl out of 4 kids, 3 rough and tough older brothers, although I'm not that rough and tough, but to you, we were your rough and tough older brothers. And Emily
you broke my pinky on the
I did
trampoline.
Break her pinky one time. We were playing kung fu when we were little kids, and I fell on her or something on the trampoline.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I broke your pinky.
Okay.
But Emily was always a fighter. She was always wanting to play fight and all that.
Yeah.
She was tough, but yeah, you had a different treatment than us from the extended family. You know, you were the girl. You were expected to be perfect. You were expected to not be involved with this crazy stuff.
Right.
And like the thing about Emily, this pressure that she's hinting at, that I want the listener to understand, because I think it's meaningful, is that Emily never really. Let's just paint a picture. We'd be at a family function. Christmas or something, some arbitrary reason we're all getting together that has nothing to do with this stuff at all. It could be a birthday, doesn't matter. And an aunt or an uncle would just casually make some comment about, don't bring that stuff up around me. I don't believe in UFOs. Me, I'd be like, you're wrong. And I would argue, and I would, I always would stand up for it and be verbal and vocal and try to like fight that battle for my family. And Emily, on the other hand, was expected to be silent, was expected to be not by my mom and dad, but just, by the family dynamic. You're expected to just, oh, Emily would never be associated with that. The mindset, Emily's not involved with that stuff. And now it's kind of, breaking necks. People are like, huh? Because Emily's coming out. She's going on the podcast.
Yeah.
She's going on the History Channel. And she's got a TikTok.
I didn't really say a lot of, I was talking about ups and downs. Some of the downs have been some of that kind of thing in the last year.
It's tough.
I don't want to go too much into that because
it's okay.
But yeah, there's been some kinds of,
there's been some shock in the family that Emily,
of my association with this stuff.
Emily has boldly, and the thing that broke the camel's back, I'm not even going to say it was coming on the podcast. I'm going to say it was agreeing to do the History Channel, because for half a year, you came to me, I'm too scared. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, do it. Do it. Do it. What are you waiting for? Do it. Nothing can go wrong. Do it. And you finally did it. And I think it like unleashed you. And next thing you know, you have your TikTok. You're doing your spiritual voice program. You started to unfold in what I think, you were supposed to be.
Yeah, I think the imposter syndrome is so real. And then one day I just took that faith connection that the Holy Spirit, the God that these beings give me, and I just applied that to myself and was like, you know what, imposter syndrome, who cares? I'm just going to do what feels right. I'm going to start my program. I'm going to do my TikTok. And if someone hates on me, it's really a reflection of them.
Right.
And I could tell that to anybody for years in the past, but like when it comes to yourself, it's so hard to find that confidence for yourself. But I'm proud. I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to ask if there are any future plans to be involved with any sort of History Channel?
I'm not sure.
Well, then we will just change the subject. Do you want to talk about the Monroe a little bit?
Yeah. So I'll just say that, and I can go into as much detail as you want. I had another.
Well, let's go into as much detail as you want.
Yeah. I had a pretty profound astral projection experience. It really, really changed me. I would love to talk about it.
You mean the first one?
No, recent.
Another one?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah. So do you want the whole thing or the relevant parts?
Just give me what you want to give me.
Okay. Let me think. So first, okay. Gotta get my mind.
We're backing it up.
Gotta get my mind into.
Rewind a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and before we move on, the Danny Jones, going on that was such a big deal for me, because that was my first time going on any appearance that wasn't this podcast. So that was special. Shout out Danny. He's a great guy.
I totally forgot about that.
Happens to be my neighbor, basically. It's so funny. Anyway. Okay, so astral projection experience. Okay, so just like the first one that I explained on here, I started out in water. No. I started falling. Okay, so I start these tapes, the Monroe tapes, right? And I literally felt like I was falling out of my body, to the point where I had to like make sure I wasn't actually falling, and had to move my arm just a little bit to make sure that I physically was safe, because it felt literally like I was bending backwards and falling in space, and it was really, really trippy. And so I'm like falling, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna ride this wave because it's real, like I'm safe, whatever. And I'm in water and I'm swimming around, and I'm like, it's dark, but I didn't want to get out of the water. I wanted to go deeper. And there were these whales. I was like, I have a thing for whales.
Yeah.
I love whales.
You had a dream about a whale that was significant.
I've had a lot of dreams about whales. If they're spirit animals, they're one of my spirit animals. Definitely.
I love that.
Had lots of significant whale dreams. Anyway, so there's these whales and I'm swimming with them, and it kind of like an Avatar, the way of water. They're connected to you and they speak to you. And
the whales?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had that, and one had her baby. And I had my whale and her baby, and we were swimming together, and I was riding on her fin, and she like took me to the edge of like, what's it called underwater? Like a big cliff. I don't know.
Like a trench
big
or something?
Trench. Yes. A big underwater trench. And she's like, I can't go any farther. I'm going to leave you here. So I like kissed her on the cheek and she swam away. And this, I'm going to say, felt extremely real. This was real. It felt very real. And so I was like, it's dark down here. And so I was like, I can't see anything. And I like started glowing so I could see underwater. So I was like, okay, turn on that glow. And I'm like swimming in the trench and I'm glowing. And I'm like, there's these ruins down there. And I'm looking around and I'm like, there's something at the bottom of this trench. And I know I'm supposed to go towards it. And I keep swimming and I get to the bottom of these ruins in this trench, and there's this massive creature that all I could say seemed like the Kraken, like a giant like Kraken thing. And at first I was a little bit like, that's scary, but then I felt like it was hurt and it needed help. And I swam up to it and kind of just like glowed into it, like, went with it, and it was pregnant and couldn't have a baby. It needed help. And so like I like glowed. I don't know what I did. I was just like glowing and like giving it some love, I guess. And then this is so weird. I know it's so weird, but then the Kraken creature, squid, whatever, I don't know, was able to have her baby, I guess, and swam away and thanked me. And I was like, okay, I did my job. Now I'm going to leave. And this is where we get to the relevant part. That was just like the beginning of my astral projection. It was so weird, but I helped the Kraken and I connected with my whale. So anyway, this is where I get to Gray's Creek.
Oh, okay.
I asked if you wanted the relevant part or the...
That's a big jump there. Gray's Creek is where we lived growing up.
Yes. So Gray's Creek is the house where the river and all of that stuff happened. I can't believe I just told my squid story. Anyway, so I'm at Gray's Creek. I'm in the backyard. It's dark. The moon is out, and I was looking at the moon, and I just kept feeling like I'm home. This is home, because it's a long story. We don't have that home anymore. It's pretty upsetting, but I just felt so at peace, like I'm at home, and I'm in the backyard, and I felt drawn to go towards the grapevine, which is like we had a very big backyard. So I go like towards the back.
It was at least 100 yards. We lived on 6 acres, and the grapevine was halfway, probably about 50 yards from our back door. And we grew muscadine grapes, and we would eat them every summer.
Right. And so I walked towards the grapevine, and I noticed that there were some beings around me, light beings. They were with me. There were like 3 or 4. And I felt like they wanted to show me something. And they, communicate telepathically. They just like put thoughts in your head. It's not really like talking. And they just like willed me to look. And I looked at the woods, and the woods were glowing. And I just remember thinking like how beautiful that glow, something about that glow was so entrancing. It was so beautiful. And I'm looking, and I look through the pass, because there's that like walkway through there, and I see Dad on the ground and the lady floating above him, and she's glowing, and I couldn't really make out her appearance as he said it, But what resonated with me was like the way that I saw her as this pure light felt like the same light I saw in my first astral projection when I saw her, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And she was just
when
pure.
you were like, take me higher. And
yes,
it was the mother.
and she was
Yeah.
just pure light. It was just like that.
Can you find that episode so I can plug it? Thank you, Alex.
And so I saw the beings were all around me. And at this point, I notice the moment I realize I'm watching Dad have his interaction with the lady, I look around me and there's more beings with me. There were 3 or 4. There's like 15 now.
Wow.
And there's...
You know what's weird about that?
They're all with me.
Dad always says that number, 15.
Yes.
He said he always feels like there's at least 15 around us.
Yeah.
Have you heard him say that?
Yes.
15 is a specific number, he says.
Yes, it is. And I had that in my mind, and when I looked, I was like, wow, there's really like 15 with me, and they're like glowing and they're standing, and I know they want me to watch this. I know they're like for real showing me this moment as they saw it from their perspective. And it was like the word, you know, like in the Bible, like a throng of angels. Like that's how it felt, like they were witnessing this moment in history. And I was with them on the other side watching Dad have this experience with the lady. And he was on the ground and she even handed him the prickly thing and he dropped it. And I laughed and we were like watching it. And it was like, it was just so surreal. And then I was kind of pulled to look to my left. And this is, the chills. I look over and at this same moment this is happening, I look over and me and you and Jeremy and Dad are standing in the backyard looking up over the shed at this massive orb that was hovering in and out of the trees. Like we always remember it and always remembered that it was a weird.
So in this same astral projection, it took you to a different night or a different day, and it's
at the same moment, like they were happening.
You're experiencing it at the same moment, but you're explaining to me that it was that day in 2008. Is that what you're saying? The big orb over the Christmas tree farm?
The one that we were watching in the woods.
Yeah, 2000.
That we always felt like we were like in a trance.
I just wanted to clear that up. So it's showing you an event in 2012 and 2008, but
at
they're
the same
happening
time
simultaneously in your vision.
Yes.
Okay.
They were
5 years apart
I'm
or whatever.
standing
4 years.
surrounded by all these beings, and at the same moment, they're showing me 2 experiences at the same time.
Right.
Because from their view, it's all happening at the tips of their fingers.
Yeah.
They're manipulating.
They're pulling the strings.
They're pulling the strings all at one moment. And so I was watching us in a trance, literally staring at this orb floating. And I look over and Dad's with the lady. And it's all happening at one moment. And the beings are just like, this is what we see. This is how it is for us.
Yeah.
And that was that intense peace feeling for me. It was like,
it's all playing
they're
out.
always with me. And so they're like, go in the house. So I go in the house and it's dark. And this is kind of funny. We have this like epic, scary long hallway in the house, right? The front to back, you know, you go in the back door and it's all the way to the front door is that creepy long hallway. And so I go to the front and go to my bedroom and it's totally dark everywhere in the house, no lights. And I go in my room and I see me laying in bed. The same time the lady's in the backyard, we're still in the backyard, I'm in my bed. All of it's at one time. I'm everywhere, right? And so I'm in bed sleeping and I look over in the corner of my room and I see the tall being that I always
would draw.
Yes. And he's in there. I just say he, I don't know. But the being is in there and I looked at it and I was like, are you here to harm me? And it was like, no. I was like, okay, you can stay.
Wow.
I was like, you can stay. Because I felt like intuitively he was just like watching me, you know, like there to whatever. And I was like, okay, but where are the other ones? Because there were other beings that would plague my nightmares and dreams and come to me and they scared me bad. That one never like threatened me scary, but it was uncomfortable and I would feel its presence. But I had 2 other beings that came in repetitive nightmares, if that makes sense. And I was like, where are they? And they appeared and I was like, get out. And they like disappeared, which is significant because all those years ago, that's what I had to do to them to get them to go away. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so they disappeared in this astral projection the same way they did in my dream. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I left the one in the corner standing there.
I thought I didn't hear the Kraken part before, but I do remember this story you just told. I thought you told me that the one in the corner was there to protect you, or am I making that up?
Yeah, that's what I said. He was there to watch me. He was there.
Yeah.
I told him he could stay.
Wow.
But the other two, I had one that was a goblin-looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You used
had
to draw that one.
Yeah, I hated that one. He scared me.
And you drew. Was it the one in the hood that you let stay?
Yes.
Cool.
The one that's in the book. The drawing in the book is the one I let stay.
Wow.
The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
Or it looked like that?
Yeah. Remember I made a TikTok about that? It was like
Mm-mm.
how Charles Dickens is our relative and how he depicted the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come as this dark cloaked figure that's here to show you your past, present, future, whatever. And I had this experience with my past, present, future and this cloaked figure in my corner, and we're related. And my middle name is Carol, like a Christmas Carol.
Yeah, my middle name is Dickens. It's my mother's maiden name.
It's like just weird. My middle name is Carol, like a Christmas Carol on purpose.
Yeah.
And he depicted this entity that was coming to me for real.
Right.
It's just weird.
It's weird.
And so I let that one stay in the bedroom, and
Wow.
the other two disappeared. Okay, and so this is where it's like, this was the moment. Like, if all of this already wasn't mind-bending, this is what really got me. So I leave me in the bed, and I leave the cloaked figure in the corner, and I walk into the kitchen, which was kind of like the center of our house. And I was just sucked up above the house, like through the rafters, and I was looking down at the house. And it was like a time lapse, all within a couple of moments. It was like the being showed me all of the activity that ever happened in a couple of moments, all at once, like an explosion.
Wow.
It was like boop, 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 like that much time. And it was like everything, like
All the thousands of sightings
all
and
of the
experiences
things
that we've had
happened all at
in
once.
our house.
Figures running, light bulbs exploding, a orb here, orb there, this thing flying off the table, this person getting pushed, an entity there. It was like all of it happened at one moment in this like little time lapse, and it was an explosion of just like energy, and it shocked me because it was like, of course I know this stuff is real, and I've always known that it was real and happening, but there's still that disconnect of like, I have to operate in society and go to college and not feel crazy, and you just push this down to a certain extent. And seeing it all like that was like, I can't escape this. This is extremely real. This is realer than anything I've ever experienced, and I can't deny it. And it's happening all at the same moment for these beings who are around me at every given moment all the time. And it's like
A whole throng of them.
yes. And so after they pulled me back down from the rafters, I saw that. I walked to my piano, and they showed me playing piano, and there were like 3 beings standing behind me watching me play piano.
Wow.
And the last part, it's almost over. So they're like watching me play piano. I'm watching me watch them. No, I'm watching them watch me play piano, which is so weird. But I walk out into the backyard again, and all of the beings are out there, and they kind of like surround me and like hugged me, kind of.
Wow.
It was like not a real hug, but it felt like a group hug. Like they glowed, and I came out of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely changed me.
If I'm like just drawing from my experience studying psychology and talking about like psychoanalysis and dream interpretation and things like that, my initial take with the experience with the whale and the Kraken was symbolic of you journeying deeper into your traumatized subconscious mind. And like the whale is your guide. It's guiding you down, helping you glow as you go down into the darkness. Your subconscious mind, you're going deeper into the recesses of your soul, and you get down there's this big scary monster. But it's really just wounded. It's just trying to have a baby, but I think that's symbolic of growth, life, projecting your purpose into the world, creating, doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And you went and you showed it love, and it had its little baby, and then it cleared, and then you were shown this mystical vision by the angels. I think it was symbolic of your journey deeper into yourself and into your soul.
Right.
Like, was there really a whale and a Kraken? Probably not. I think it was like a metaphor for your inner journey.
Right.
Of healing.
Right. But I will say yeah.
The water is usually symbolic of the subconscious when
I
you're
think,
going deeper into the water.
yes. And it was just so weird that I was falling. Like physically, I felt like I was falling. And then I was in this water, which is where I started the last time. But yeah, the whale stuff felt real in the visceral sense, like it was significant. But the Gray's Creek stuff felt like I was actually there.
Like, yeah, like you were, I believe you. Like,
Like-
you're being shown the actual events.
Right. Yeah.
I 100% believe that.
It's like,
I've heard of crazier stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, like it's an incredible gift that I feel so blessed to have witnessed. I will always be changed by what I saw with that.
I'm gonna beat around the bush here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna talk about a recent sighting that you and Dad had.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it very vague,
Okay.
but there was a moment where you and Dad were skywatching recently.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty significant moment.
Mm-hmm.
People needed to see. And Dad is texting us. He always texts me when he's worried about this stuff. I'm always calling him, "How's the trip, Dad? How'd it go? Who, blah, 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 blah." I'm always trying to bolster him. Always.
Yeah.
And he's texting me, and you're texting me, "Send good vibes. We need prayer. We need to see, we need good energy." And I started meditating, and I just went deep into myself. I paused my show that I was watching with my wife, and I was like, "Jenny, I'm going to meditate for them real quick." And I just went deep into myself, and I started visualizing, astrally projecting, and being there, and putting my hands on Dad, and sending him my energy. And I started visualizing, looking up and seeing them, and calling out to them with my spirit, and allowing my energy to like encourage you guys, help you guys to see what you needed to see. And in my vision, and I was awake, I wasn't listening to tapes, I was just sitting there watching TV, and I paused it and I started meditating. And it was really weird. We have this whole History Channel thing with Dad and his brain scan, and we know he has some real psychic phenomenon going on. We know that there's a question in this community. Is it true with the kids? I would say likely, probably so. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But I'm telling you, I felt weird. Mm-hmm. And I felt a sense of, as I had in my mind, traveling to my dad and having my hands on his back. I kept even imagining really hard. I'm like Goku when he goes to help Gohan do his father-son Kamehameha from the spirit world. Mm-hmm. I kept thinking, like, this is me. Like, it's silly, but like it was the visualization that I was using to help really try to feel it and believe it. So I had my hand on Dad's back, like Goku when he's doing the father-son Kamehameha against Cell. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I feel them. They're here. They're going to show. It's going to happen. I can feel it. I can see them. And then I texted you, "You're going to see them." Mm-hmm. Then within minutes, it happened.
Yeah.
I just felt a feeling. And I don't think it's because I did that. I think I was allowed to sense it.
Yeah. I think that connection knows no time or space.
Yeah. And when those things happen, and they happen a lot in our family, and it's, just crazy stuff happens. And you got to say, like, it feels different in your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You feel different.
Yeah. It seems like the more things unfold, the more the, what is it? How like allegory is the only way to explain things. Like the more that truth feels real to me. Like I can't explain things without creating some sort of artistic depiction of it, because there's no way for you to understand.
Yeah, that's why I focused on the Dragon Ball Z thing, like, because it's silly, but it's like,
well, it has merit, like
yeah,
there's some truth to it.
Coming through the spirit world, so to speak, to give you my energy.
Right.
And I just had this deep inner knowing it's going to happen. And I texted you guys, it's done, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just a knowing.
Yeah,
like I a few weeks ago had there was a figure in my bedroom that appeared, and it was just like the appearance of it was just like a knowing, like, yep, okay, what I was thinking about at the moment is fine. Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Just went right to sleep. Which is so funny because it was I was like laying down, just going to sleep, but I had my eyes wide open. I was facing the window. The light was kind of coming through. So it was like, I wasn't seeing things, it was just like an obvious shadow figure about 3-4 foot tall walked past my window. And I was just like, thank you. Like, I was really stressing about whatever it was I was thinking about. And
no more stress.
no more stress.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's confirming for you. Yeah, I really believe, especially with your astral projection experience, it seems to me the deeper we get into this, especially since the book came out, especially since the first History Channel documentary has come out, and all the other recent developments, and there's other stuff too that, you know, we have exciting opportunities to announce in the future, things that haven't been discussed yet, but we're always working. Bledsoe family's always cooking. We're always reaching new heights. And it feels like since all this stuff has been happening, I believe now so with 100% certainty, with zero doubt, that everything ever in the history of all time, ever, any minute, discrete event that you can imagine in history, everything has unfolded according to the great plan of destiny.
Yeah.
Even the bad choices.
All of it.
And even, you know, the mistakes. Even the heartache, even the suffering, even the trauma, every bad choice I've made or you've made in the past, everything led you to right here, right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like the gift that they gave me. And can I be honest?
Please.
It's like in the last year especially, but especially since that experience with the projection, I feel like my higher self perspective has been so strong, but especially since that projection, to where it's like everything, every communication I have with a person, every scenario I'm in, everywhere I'm at, I'm like constantly viewing my life from a different perspective. I'm like not actually here in my body, which is sometimes really amazing because it's like very peaceful, but sometimes it's a little bit unnerving because I've said on here before, like I've always had my head in the clouds kind of person anyway. And so it's been really an extra sort of challenge for me to really ground myself in reality these days.
Mm-hmm. Because of all the crazy things happening.
Yeah, that's kind of also been part of the, you know, it's not a down, it's a very positive down if there is one, you know, but it's been a new challenge for me to really try and keep myself rooted in reality. And like honestly, like mundane tasks have been my favorite thing. Like doing the dishes keeps me sane, you know, like because the stuff popping off around us, and I'm creating this program and all of this stuff going on. It's like, how do you stay normal?
Yeah.
How do you function in crowds of people? You know,
it's tough. Yeah. All they want to talk about is silly stuff, and it's like
I'm like seeing everything.
I mean, I can do that stuff.
I'm like floating above my house, seeing everything happen all in one moment. It's like, how are you not changed from that? And then like trying to stay. And I don't want to be normal. Like, it's not that I'm trying to stay normal or put myself in that box. It's just I'm trying to stay like functional. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I stopped being functional a long time ago, and I've given it all to the podcast.
I don't think I've ever been functional, but I've always been functional in the like conventional sense. Like I got my degrees and I'm still studying, but at the same time, I've never really been normal.
Yeah.
So anyway.
We stopped being normal 17 years ago. No, I totally get it. I have a very hard time functioning doing mundane stuff. You know? Like, I just feel like
routine is so important.
Routine is tough, and I feel like my mind is so jacked way the hell away from like the basic system that everybody observes, you know.
Right.
And it's really tough to like, you know, let's just say being creative is a great opportunity for me.
Yes. Creativity is so important. But sometimes with like even my TikTok, it's like creating this content is so healing and fun. And then sometimes it's like, I need to take a week off because it's not the kind of content that roots me in the reality I need to function, you know? So it's just an interesting challenge.
Yeah.
But it's interesting too because everyone's commenting and messaging me and you and saying like things feel different for them too. It's not just me and you. It's not just our family. It's everybody. Even people who aren't into spirituality or into this stuff, they're like, things feel weird these days and they don't know why. It's like things are changing. Consciousness is actually evolving.
It's shifting, yeah.
Yeah, and that's...
for everybody.
It's like, it's amazing to be a part of that. We're really in like... This era is so important in the history of all
approaching
time.
a golden era. Yes, we're approaching a new golden era. Obviously, we know it as the age of Aquarius. I think we're very close. I think we're knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Right now. And I do believe, exactly like you said, consciousness is shifting for all of humanity. But I think those who really seek and really have a spiritual purpose and are seeking to be a part of something greater are experiencing the shift first.
Mm-hmm.
You have billions of people out there, nasty, depraved, have no care in the world if there even is a God or some greater mystery to life. They'd rather rob you, take your $20 bill out of your pocket and screw over their neighbor and do all this nasty stuff. Hopefully they'll shift.
Hopefully.
If they work on themselves and they change. But ultimately it's up to us to be better people and embrace this energy, this new knowledge that's coming, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which is really old knowledge. It's just that God's real.
Right.
But like really real.
But like actually real.
Yeah.
Actually.
Not your God, not my God, not their God, Buddha, Islam, blah, blah, blah. No. There's one real thing.
Yeah.
Forget about all these silly little knickknacks. There is one real thing. Let's figure out how to connect with it.
Right. And that's part of, it's so cool. It's part of my program kind of too, like my voice program. It's like, not explicitly about this, but it's kind of sneaky. Not sneaky, it's, explained. But like that consciousness, like that you are a part of that. You are a part of God. Like it doesn't matter what religion you come from. We're going to dive into what it means to be you and your spirituality and your consciousness, your connection to God in the way that you view it and how that can enhance your singing and how singing as vibration can affect the world around you. Because like if I can look at you a certain way and that energy will make you feel different, imagine how my voice will affect you, and I think that that's by extension like the podcast and TikTok and the History Channel and the book, like it's just more words, more energy, more vibration being put out there, and it's really cool to connect with people who are receiving that, who are on the same wavelength. It's like more and more people every day.
Before Dad published the book, we had a lot of talks about it. He was giving me the chapters in advance to read, and and I was just blown away. I was like, wow, I didn't know the book was going to be like this. I thought it was going to be like a fact-based book. I didn't know it was going to be his life story, which is like way better.
Beautifully written and poetic.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And
I cried. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't read it.
And I told him before it came out, I was like, Dad, you understand that when you publish this book, it's going to change the world. Because you're taking the story of our family, our message, and you're binding it symbolically to paper.
Mm-hmm.
You're what you're essentially doing. Anything ever about our life that came from us was scattered little interviews online or my podcast, or he's had some appearances, but he never wrote it down. It was always fragmented tellings of it from different perspectives, asking questions. And I was like, but Dad, you're taking symbols. Letters and words are symbols. They have some ancient meaning and purpose that we don't understand. You're taking your story and you're materializing it into the 3D world through symbols. It's going to be more like crystallized in this realm. You're like sealing it into our shared reality, Dad. And because you're going to do that, everything is going to change. And it started popping off rapidly after his book came out.
Yeah.
All this stuff going off, and UFO disclosure. And let's not be naive here. We do know for a fact, and with 100% authenticity, that the entire Department of Defense, any sort of down to the rookie up to the program director, if there's anybody who knows about UFOs, they know who we are. They know that our stuff's real. They know that it's spreading. They're very aware of it. They tell us. And we know that all of this stuff in the global UFO conversation is directly correlated to our story breaking out deeper and deeper into the masses. We know this. They're telling us. They're not saying it publicly. They're saying it to the Bledsoes. Right. Am I right?
Right.
They're telling us this. I'm telling them because I want them to understand. Like, our story is on the cusp of getting out there. And I told Dad, it's because you're finally writing it down, it's all going to change.
Yeah.
Dad has these knowings about certain things. You have knowings about certain things. Junior does. Jeremy does. I have knowings about certain things. You know, like, and I keep telling Dad, I'm like, it's all going to change, man. You're going to change it. You're going to change the world.
Yeah. It's happening right now, whether or not we like it at this point.
I love it.
I love it too.
Bring it on, baby.
I used not to.
I keep saying we're going to have a grand slam this year. 2024, baby. Look at Alex nodding his head. Yeah.
2024 is the year. It's the year. There's a lot coming up we can't talk about, which feels weird.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
We can't talk about it.
We got a lot of frogs in the pot. I don't really boil frogs like that. I just wanted to just try out saying it.
I don't really like frogs, but
yeah, we got a lot of crazy stuff going on. Is there anything that you haven't gotten off your chest?
Well, you put me on the spot like that. I don't know.
You feel resolved?
I don't know. I feel like I had something to say earlier and I can't remember what it was.
Any experiences, sightings you've had recently? Keep in mind, we live like 500 miles apart.
Did I tell you about the I know I've mentioned the the moment where Jack and I were with Dad and the lights were all around us and the flame and
No.
Yeah.
Well, tell me again and let the audience listen.
Okay, so I was going to elaborate something that's just like and I want to explain something like sometimes these experiences are in the moment with your eyes open looking at it. But sometimes just as real, like the astral projection. It's a projection, right? It's real, but it's not with me like right now looking at you sometimes, right? And so what I'm going to explain is both. So the first was around Easter last year, and I'm pretty sure I explained this a little bit, but Dad and I and Jack, while we were still living in North Carolina, around Easter, we're out and Jack just kept saying it's like AWA, remember?
Like Avatar.
Like Avatar,
yeah,
like AWA. But we were standing outside. This happened a couple nights. And just at night, we'd go out and the lights, these orbs, they were like flames, like little flames appearing all around us, like within touching distance, right in my face, right around us, like sparks everywhere in the trees, in my face. And we're just like stunned by it. Like it's just glorious. You're just standing there. You're just energetically vibrating and like you can't breathe. It's just, so real and beautiful. And the first night that happened, I had this dream. I guess I never told you, but that night I dreamed that, and this is the projection part that felt extremely real, right? So it was in a dream. It came in a dream. I was I like climbed this ladder and I was up in this like platform and I was looking around and the world was like deforested. It was like I was looking around and everything, all the trees were cut down and the earth was sad. And I was like, what's wrong with the planet? What's wrong? Something's wrong. And I looked farther and could see a mixture, kind of like my astral projection. It was a mixture of the Grays Creek backyard with the burning tree, and then the pond where my parents live now. So those landscapes were combined into symbolically one, representation of our family and where we live. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And all of the family members, you, Mom and Dad, Chris, everyone was walking around like living, trying to figure out life, talking, laughing, stressed, just like I was watching you inhabit life, I guess. And I'm up on this higher perspective platform and I look over, the platform gets a little bigger and I look and my breath stops. It was like, and there's a being standing there looking at me. And it was like, I've seen beings before, but for whatever reason, this one like had a message for me and it really viscerally like shocked me. I don't know. And so it like comes toward me, and it's cloaked. I can't see its face, but it feels like the same beings as the one, like the light beings, or it was just cloaked, right? And it comes to me and it says basically, you know, that I'm watching our lives, that it's showing that the beings are showing me everything from a higher perspective, that we are here to help the planet. This is after we were witnessing the orbs that same night.
Same night. Okay.
Same night.
The flames.
The flames. Yes. And so
again, what did it say?
it was basically saying like it's showing me from a higher perspective how like I have a purpose here to help the planet, to help people, to help humanity and the planet physically as a being. It's hurting, it's bleeding, it's
right,
dying, and everyone's upset. Look at your family. Look at all the people. And it looked at me, and I looked at it, and I was like unable to breathe. And it just said, you know, in my mind, it was like, you have work to do. All it said was, you have work to do. And it was, all I can say, it was like a rush of electricity. And it felt like my mind, like in the Matrix or something, you're seeing all these lights, like, you know, and everything froze. Like I was like being electrocuted, and I literally woke up out of my dream hyperventilating, and Jack was freaking out like in bed. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I feel like that was a real experience I had. Like it imparted something to me when it said that.
Well, remember when Dad had his first ever
it like physically imparted some sort of electricity on me, and I woke up and I was like actually having an experience. It was
when Dad had his initial encounter, and then he had the hypnotic regression. Remember, the beings told him, we can take your soul from your body while you're asleep in your bed and take you on a journey and show you things.
Yeah.
Those are real experiences.
I know they're real. And the funny thing is, like, at this point, people are starting to believe in the orbs, so I don't feel like I have to justify that. But at this point, I feel like I have to justify this type of experience, because that sounds like the weird stuff.
But Emily, we have the scientific data that Dad's brain is anomalous. You don't have to justify.
I know I don't, but it's
if people can't understand, they're behind and they're ignorant.
Right, you're right.
Unfortunately.
I know, but it's just funny how it's evolved.
Like, we're breaking into new territory here where we're actually, like, proving this is real.
And it's funny because, like, after that happened and I woke up, I felt different ever since that. It, like, imparted something on me. It said, you have work to do. And then Dad went to Skinwalker Ranch and was, like, texting me, praying, like, pray for me. Like, we have to see something. This was when they were still filming for the first season. Mm-hmm. And he was there at Skinwalker Ranch. And I was, like, out there while he was out there at Skinwalker Ranch. I was in our backyard having the exact same experience with the flames, the orbs all around me, in my face, just me privately. And I was just talking out loud to the lady. And it was just, I don't know. It's been a different year.
Yeah.
It's been a different year.
It's only going to get crazier.
I know.
2026 is 2 years away. We're in the end game here. Like, I think the next 2 years are going to be the craziest years of anyone's life.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to look scary to the uninitiated, to the ones who don't know the truth, and they're not aware that there's a higher plan and a good plan. And I think that they're going to get lost in all of this stuff in the news and all the stuff they see out there, that everything is so bad and doom and gloom, and that, you know, all we can do is just keep putting out our message and hope for the best, and hope that people can see and understand from a truth perspective. You know, like, sure, it's going to look bad before it gets good, but that was the prophecy. That's been predicted, which the beings told Dad the prophecy is going to come true. Exactly how it was written. You know, I mean, I'm not saying every little metaphor in the book of Revelations. I'm just saying the big picture of it, you know. Right. There might look like there's wars and things like that, but, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's only going to go on for so long before the light steps in and stop it. And I think we're in the end game here. I think over the next 2 years, some insane things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be there on the other side being like, told you so.
Yeah.
We've been saying it. Y'all didn't want to listen till we went on TV.
I think the most important thing, what I did want to get off my chest that I couldn't remember, the most important thing that I'm finding that I hope anyone listening can resonate with, is that truly just like the foundations, the basics, the very simplest version of your concept of the soul is what matters, and like God, and to, like you say all the time, not to label things, because I still, you know, everyone wants to label, everyone wants to, you know, see the phenomenon as this or that. And it's like, no, like, what is this telling you? What does this mean? What's the meaning behind it? What does it make you feel? Why do you feel this way? You know what I mean? Like the basic, most, same thing with my program. Why do you sing? What's the point in singing if you don't have a soul? What's the point in seeing the phenomenon if it doesn't give you a feeling, if it's not connected to something important?
Yeah.
Why do we need to label it? Why do I need to try and touch it? Why do I need to this, that, or the other? No, like, what are you doing to, so to say, go into the trench and heal that kraken? Right?
Right.
Like, how can you be making yourself feel better ultimately? Because, and you know, like my line of, if you want to talk sciencey, like the nervous system and all of the stuff, like ultimately healing yourself, your nervous system, whatever it is, your inner child, whatever viewpoint you have, healing yourself, having that control over your own person, your own mind, body, spirit, is the only thing you can do. And by doing that, you can heal the world around you. Mm-hmm. Truly. You can actually have capacity to help people better than you would have before. And you can be affecting real vibrational change in people and the world around you. And I think it's something like, yeah, duh, I need to work on myself. But no, really, like, how much effort and energy are you putting into other people or situations you have no control over? We all do. I do. We all do. So, like, literally take a moment and, like, what can you focus on inside more? What can you cultivate and heal so that you can affect change that you want to in the world?
Right.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And
just be a light to others.
Well, first be a light to yourself.
For sure.
So you can be a light to others. It's so important. And I did have one funny story to get off my chest.
Okay.
It's very irrelevant. So if you're not ready.
I'm ready.
I just I thought about it the other day. Remember when Mom threw the turtle?
No.
You don't remember when Mom threw the turtle?
Like a real turtle? No, I don't remember that.
You don't remember we were flounder gigging?
No.
We were, okay. You don't remember going flounder gigging?
I do, but I don't remember her throwing a turtle.
So we were
This would have been like nearly 20 years ago that we went flounder gigging.
No, it wasn't. I was in like high school.
No way. I would have.
Yes.
No.
So we were going flounder gigging. If anyone's ever been flounder gigging, you attach lights to the bottom of your boat and you go out at night and
in shallow water. And the water is lit up. So it's like the ocean is vibrant and light, but everything around you is dark. So it's really magical and really mysterious and cool. And you don't fish with a fishing pole. You stab the flounder with a spear. Yeah.
It's very like caveman. You stab the flounder. I didn't want to stab them. But anyway, one time Ryan and I were flounder gigging with Mom and Dad. And Mom had the spear. I don't know what they're called. The gig? I don't know. The spear? Yeah. I don't know. And there was a sea turtle swimming on the water. You tell me you don't remember this.
It's coming back to me.
She picked up the spear and like took the flat side of it and was like, look, a baby turtle. And she like picked the turtle up to show us and accidentally flung it like 20 feet
into the water,
into the darkness.
That's funny.
It like splashed and it swam away. And I don't know why I thought about it the other day, but I really thought you'd remember that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, she didn't injure the turtle. I know sea turtles are very important. It swam away, but yeah.
That's funny. There was one time when we were
she threw
fishing.
That turtle. We laughed for like 3 hours.
One time we were fishing out on a boat and Jeremy cast his line and a freaking seagull, there was like shrimp bait on the line and a seagull nabbed, we're talking out in the ocean too.
Yeah.
On a boat. The seagull nabbed the bait, grabbed it and got hooked. Or it might have even been a pelican. Mm-hmm. And he had to reel in this freaking bird and take the hook out of its bill and release it. Talk about a crazy experience.
Owie.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just normal weird people.
Fishing, hunting. Well, not anymore, but
yeah,
used to. Wow. What a great episode. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It was like all the stuff that I wish I could get off my chest, honestly, are things I couldn't talk about. So that's why I was kind of like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
I can't
about.
say certain things. So anyway, I enjoyed it. And Honey did too.
Be sure to check out Bledsoe Baby, her TikTok, and Emily Holloway Voice.
Yeah.
Emily Holloway Voice on Instagram. And if you are aspiring to be a singer or,
if you just want to holistically heal with the voice, that's good too. You don't have to be a
Be sure to check out her program.
singer.
I have personally seen it. It is incredibly, insanely detailed and thorough. It is a very, very just thorough program. I mean, I was blown away when I saw it. So if you're interested in that, I mean, it would be helpful to her, show her some support. And otherwise, thanks for listening.
Appreciate it. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Thanks for being here. Love you.
Thanks. Love you.
You ready?
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.
Peace.